That's for sure. Yeah, definitely.
And like some of these things that you mentioned about this, and I could be wrong on the timing. I read about this. I think this came about at the beginning of Kihara, but you interviewed Carl, and you know you can get as far as deep as you can get specific or as deep as minutia or not.
There was a Aikido Today magazine.
It was Aikido Today, and some of the things mentioned in that magazine, talked about. First of all, was that like at the very, very beginning of Kihara, or was it before that or after that? I mean,
no.
Okay, and then
it was around the same time.
Okay. And what were some of the things? Well, like I said, you don't want to necessarily get too far in minutia, but some of the things he talked about, lower leg things that we've never really worked on.
Right.
Just maybe a brief general overview about that article.
Right. So there's an article in Aikido Today magazine by Nick Lowry interviewing Carl Geis from 1997, 8, 9, somewhere in there.
Okay.
I didn't write it.
Okay.
Carl had gotten into some online discussion. This was early online discussions, and he'd gotten in some fucking fight with somebody about striking arts and martial arts and Aikido and blah, 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 blah. And he wrote a thesis and wanted it published as if it was an interview of him by me.
It wasn't.
He said, and you're a good English writer and you can clean it all up and make it sound like it's you. I said, okay. I'll get published, you'll get published, you'll get your word out. If you don't have me saying something untoward that I, wouldn't, then let me read it. We'll see. So I read it, and I said, I can, change the phrasing here, fix the spelling there, or whatever. But yeah, and we sent it off to Aikido Today. They published it. But that's where that came from. The questions and the answers, the whole thing is whole cloth, his deal. I was a beard. I was being used as a substitute author in that case. I was a ghost author. Yeah.
What were some of the things he was talking about?
I didn't write it, so I read it.
He never talked about it. Never really talked about it.
What I recall was fairly standard. Carl holding forth about the superiority of Aikido and Judo versus striking arts in general, which was a big theme in clinics through the 80s into the 90s. And he covered a lot of different territory, from covering the gloves to putting the nose over the supporting leg and stepping on the knee to a wide variety.
So when he talked about this lower leg stuff, he was talking about that.
Oh yeah, not you because you're back. Come here.
No, I got it. Yeah.
So Jackie's going to kick at me. Don't kick at me. But get ready to kick at me. He's standing on one foot. It's a revelation. If the man will kick at you and they're not hopping up in the air, they will stand on one foot. When they stand on one foot, their nose will go over their supporting knee. If you are keeping eye contact, when you see that odd little shift, which is distinct from their normal wave pattern of walking, if he's just walking at me, Jack's walking at me, I'm looking him in the eye, there's a tick-tock. It's pretty obvious. Somewhere in your tick-tock, decide to kick. Yeah. About the time I'm saying, yeah, I'm looking at him do that decide to kick thing, which is the stand on one foot thing. You learn to just see it coming. You see the little difference between the normal tick-tock walking thing and the load on one foot and get ready to fire energy out of the other side of your body. When you learn to see that, you learn to pick your foot up and drop it under his nose. And that is what he was substantively describing in the article.
Gotcha.
Does that help?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, very much. Thank you.
Cool. Step on their supporting knee, which worked pretty good. Just watching people's eyes, you'll find a facility to step on their supporting feet automatically, which is kind of interesting. I figured that out by accident once with a guy trying to kick at me. But later he built this whole system about stepping on the knee. I think because he felt very vulnerable about his own knees.
Sure.
And this seemed like, oh, this is a good thing. I'll scare the other people by stepping on their knees. But yeah. Cool. Are we done? It's noon, yeah.
So what would your vision, we've talked about Carl's vision.
Sure.
We've talked about everybody's kind of direction.
Yeah.
The school is taking. What would you, what's your vision for it?
Oh, my vision.
For Aikido and how it rolls?
Wow. I would like to see a good balance of Randori and Kata perpetually into the future. I think that's critical for Aikido. I think if it's too much Kata driven or too much Randori centric, it kind of loses a lot. I would highly recommend that you do lots of Ukemi, but you do it with as little impact as possible. I think the tendency is that we've learned an Ukemi system that is the best in the world for surviving high impact. So it's a system that was taught to teach competitive judo athletes in the Kodokan in the 1950s and survive super high impact conditions. But that's for a competitive career that lasts 8 years, 6 years for most of them. You don't have to do it for 30 years.
And invest in a good crash pad.
You should have the right materials to fall on, but damn it, if we had converted to a low impact Ukemi system, if we were doing judo like Model does, everybody's seen Model and see what he does? Does anybody want to demonstrate what that looks like in terms of their falling? Just come here.
I would if I could.
Yeah. So Carl's judo has a lot that goes into, whoo, and I take his feet out from under him and goes up in the air about this high and land. Bam! And damn, it feels good. You feel like a fucking god. He tore his feet out from under him and put him up in the fucking air and slammed him head first into the earth and damn! Whoo! Model comes here and he scooches this foot out in slow motion and sets him down gently and kneels politely over the top. And throws the leg out and slides this out and does this. And you think, what the fuck is that? Where'd the Big Bang go? Where'd the slam boom thing go? How come he's just laying him down? No impact. And Model will do that all day long, every day, for the rest of his life. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And because he can do that hundreds and hundreds of times, he will out-train everybody going slam bang. Period. Repetition, number of reps, lowering the risk of injury to himself and them. It's just smarter. Period. And I had a shot at changing. I did. 1999. Oh, Kyle Sloan sends his best. He's sick today. But Kyle Sloan says howdy, everybody. 1999, I go to Houston. I come back. Kyle Sloan has broken Vince Kalka's leg doing Osoto guard in judo class. Well, I tried to reach in and do it without a grip. Broke his leg. And I got pissed and said, damn it, that's crazy shit. We should just do what Model's doing. And back off all this slam bang stuff entirely. Who needs the liability? Who needs the risk? Who needs the training injuries? Who needs that? And, you know, I was still addicted to it, but by God, I thought it's time to go cold turkey and not do that anymore. Because that way lies breaking people's legs on accident. You know, seemed nuts. And Carl talked me out of it. And that is one of my few big regrets. I think at the time I should have said, screw it. Let's go soft style Ukemi, period. I think the whole school would have been benefiting. I think I would have been benefiting. I don't think my back would be in the state it's in. I don't think Greg Abel's back would be in the state it's in. Because the last 15 years of impact was probably where I did most of my damage. You know, up till that point, I was still feeling good. 2002 was when my back started going
Where
bad.
I'm at now.
Yeah. So there's a high price for that high impact thing. And I don't think, you know, if you're going to go be a world-class competitor in judo, then you need that kind of Ukemi. Then hallelujah, do it. That's what you got to have. If you're doing it just because it feels good still, watch out. It'll come bite your ass. And that's sadly what I learned. So I would like Ukimi to keep going. I think it's a powerful and important skill. It builds resilience like nothing else. If you don't have Ukimi, then you're not getting the full self-defense part of the package, period. You gotta have it. And I would minimize the impact, if at all possible.
Were you there when Miyake talked about Ukimi?
No, what'd she say?
I always thought it interesting. She said it was the most important thing you'll ever learn.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people questioned it. He said, you have to understand self-defense is not just a bad guy coming after you. Self-defense is called icy streets
Falling on the ice.
and missing curves.
Yeah,
And that's where she was coming from.
right.
And it's true, more people get hurt that way because they don't know how to fall than has ever been injured in judo.
Right, right. Well, even in terms of hand-to-hand combative thinking, all the stuff you learn as Tori is great as long as you know you're in a damn fight. Hey, you! And then the fight's on, and you know, okay, I can be cool and step back and give the same-handed foot. We don't bait on the balls of my feet. I can do all this. I might do a thing to her. That mean girl over there is screaming at me. But if I'm walking across the mat and she just reaches out and hits me on the head with a brick, unbeknownst to me, like falling off the curb or taking a bad step on the side. If it's an ambush, the only thing that saves your ass is Ukimi. Period. Because by definition, none of the cool ideas and kata things, and I'm going to play Torei, none of the Torei stuff is at your disposal at all. Yeah.
Can I share just one story?
Sure.
Keith Wellman used to come here.
Yeah.
He was standing on his roof, checking out his garage door. And he didn't stop. So
He
he
just
just
kept going.
rolled,
Mm-hmm.
and he did.
Wow.
And he didn't even bruise.
Wow. I love
From
that.
12 foot up.
Like Danny Carrillo going off the trunk. Is Danny still here? He took it off.
His left.
His left.
No, he's here.
Oh, is it? Yeah. Danny was on top of a tank truck and slipped, greasy slip, and went off the top of a 13-foot deck up there onto the shop floor. And he was about a EQ in judo at the time, I think, something like that. And yeah, miraculous. I mean, that should have killed him. Really should have.
I was 14 foot in a tree, trimming a tree, and fell.
Yeah,
Happened to just did a back fall.
I love it.
Got up.
Leukemia makes you resilient as hell. That's for sure. So don't blow it off, but do it as light as you can force yourself to keep doing it. That's my.
I wasn't thinking about slapping when I was going down. I was thinking
Hell
about
no.
curling.
I just don't want to crush my head into the floor. So we're done now, Jim?
You're done.
Okay. I'm done, y'all.